I'm curious to know, General, how the Corps of Cadets specifically and A&M is dealing with the pandemic right now. I mean, what kind of things are going on? How are you guys adjusting to the different conditions?
That's a great question. And, you know, just going back to the spring, our students, including our cadets, went on spring break last March. And while they were gone, the pandemic hit and decisions were made here at Texas A&M and across the nation about shutting down classes, putting everything online, closing facilities on campus. So when our cadets came back, the Corps Cadets was essentially done for the season, for the year. They were told they could go home, they could take all their classes online, and we couldn't conduct anything Corps related due to the pandemic, which was quite a shock, I think, especially for the seniors who missed out on the second half of their spring semester.
Yeah, great, good point. That's not fun to think about.
No, there were a lot of iconic traditions that normally take place during that time frame that we just could not conduct. It was tough. It was tough for our seniors, but we talked to them about leadership during times of adversity, and it was amazing to me how well those upperclassmen took that on and maintained a positive attitude throughout.
Yeah.
And they learned some tough lessons at a much earlier age than I learned about dealing with adversity and how to overcome those kinds of situations, and the fact that, hey, tomorrow's not guaranteed.
Yeah.
As a leader, you have to understand that tomorrow is not guaranteed. Things could change dramatically for you in the blink of an eye. And as a leader, you've got to be able to adjust to that, adapt to that. And oh, by the way, maintain a positive attitude throughout, not just for you, but for your organization and your people. So a lot changed. So we spent the entire summer literally planning and preparing for the fall. And despite the fact there were some that thought that we would not be able to have a Corps of Cadets because of the pandemic, our attitude going in was, no, don't tell us what we can't do. Tell us what we can do.
Yeah.
And so we focused on, okay, we've got a challenge here. How do we overcome this challenge? And I am surrounded by a phenomenal team of leaders, former military, education, you name it. I've got a wide variety of backgrounds that work on my staff and the ROTC staffs. And we all put our minds to figuring out how we were going to do this fall. And we've been able to have a Corps of Cadets. We put in procedures to try to mitigate and reduce the risk of the spread of COVID-19. We worked extremely hard with the School of Public Health, the University Health Center, the Health Science Center, the Residence Life. All these people helped us develop a plan to mitigate and reduce risk among the cadets so we could still have a Corps and maintain some sense of normalcy throughout the fall semester. And thankfully, that has gone extremely well. Our cadets have handled it well. We issued, for example, simple things like we issued them masks. We put additional hand sanitizing stations on all floors of all the dorms. We put specific rules in place for use of the communal bathrooms. Everything is conducted outside. We don't do anything inside because of the social distancing. Everything is done in small units, small groups, 10 or less.
Yeah.
So we've had to rely heavily on junior leadership in the Corps. So our small unit leaders have really had to step up and take charge during all of this. And it's worked extremely well. Our cadets have taken it on. They've been very positive about it. They've taken on the challenge. And our positivity rate in the Corps is 2% or less. That's what it's been since the beginning of the school year. So when you're talking about a population of 2,300 cadets that all live together in 12 dorms on campus, it's amazing how well they have dealt with, COVID-19 and doing everything that needs to be done to mitigate the risk of spread. So we've maintained less than 2% positivity rate since the beginning of the school year. And we're very, very proud of that fact. And the fact that our cadets have taken this on head on and have done an extremely good job of dealing with it.
You said, pardon me, you said so many good things there, General. And I want to unpack a couple of the things you said, because I think they're really, really important as it relates to leadership. One of the things you said early on, and I've been telling my kids this, when the pandemic hit and quarantine went down, I'm in Houston, and my family took it very seriously. We did what the leadership was saying. We stayed home as much as we could and all that sort of thing. and I was preaching to my kids, and I said this so much that I felt like a broken record, but I said, we got to be mentally flexible. We got to be prepared to adapt to different things. And, I think a fundamental principle of leadership is adaptability. And I think that's so important, not to get stuck, mentally in a particular plan or a particular approach, and not be willing to get off of that a little bit. The other thing you said that was literally giving me chill bumps was this idea: don't tell me what we can't do, tell me what we can do. This idea of kind of a can-do attitude in general.